All right, we live, baby. We're gonna have a guest here in a second, but it's gonna be awesome. Hey, can you check your phone and see if we're live? Be fantastic. All right. You can go to my Facebook page and see if we're live. We should be. We should be live. Yes. All right, here we go. And I think Will should be popping on here in a second. So here we go. All right. Boop boop. What's up, man?
What's up?
You on? You live? We're live.
Are we on the interwebs?
We're on the interwebs. That's awesome. All right. So we're talking about content marketing. We're talking about social media. We're talking about how we can leverage videos and content to create more business. I know a lot of people out there have questions about how it is that we do what we do and all of the algorithms and all of that, which I think is not what you should be focusing on if you're creating content, right? Well,
Yep, agreed.
I think part of the process and part of the problem with businesses trying to create content for social media, or anybody trying to create content for social media, is I think that their focus is the subscribers, the amount of views, and not necessarily on the act of creating the content, right? And so what happens is you create all of this content, maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't, more than likely it doesn't. You get discouraged, you stop doing it. But in my opinion, and what not necessarily my opinion, but what I've seen throughout the years is the people that remain consistent no matter what are the people that are winning. And so I think if you start to think about the journey and not necessarily the destination, I think it'll come after that, right? Like I think your success will come, and we've definitely experienced a lot of success as a result of just creating content and not necessarily worrying about the algorithms and how many viewers. And I mean, obviously we want to get those analytics, right? So that we can figure out, oh, these are the videos and this is the type of content that people are liking, but it isn't our necessary focus on how we're going to go viral. Because like I'll tell everybody this, if anybody has figured out how to go viral, then they'd be multi-billionaires. Even Hollywood can't figure it out. Hollywood can't figure it out. But here's the secret that Hollywood does, and just content and creation, is that they create a lot of content. And if you create a lot of content, something's going to hit. It's the law of averages, right?
It's like the spaghetti on the wall mentality. You got to throw a bunch up there and see what sticks.
Yeah. So I think that's the first and foremost thing that I'd like to talk to people about today, is that when you're out there just creating content, create the content, have fun with it, right? And then get the ideas after that with the analytics on what people are liking and what people are not liking. I'll tell you this, I have countless stories of people that have seen a particular video that have called me saying, hey, can you help me out with my content? Can you help me out creating a video? Because they saw a piece of content that was valuable, non-salesy. I'm not out here trying to sell, and a lot of call to actions. And I think that's a lot of what businesses are thinking about, is they're just thinking about the money, right? And I liken it to a relationship, right? At the end, to be crass, at the end, we all know what the end result of a relationship is, right? It's to have sex, right? But if you're going into a relationship and from the get-go, that is what you're talking about, that is what you're saying, like, we all know that that's what the end result is, right? In a sales process, we understand that we want them as a client. We want their money. But if you're approaching it like, hey, I want your money, 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 you're not going to get the money. And so that, I think that is a big problem with everybody on social media, is that they're trying to get to the end result without all of the stuff ahead of time. all of the value build, all of the trust building, all of the credibility building, all of the rapport. If you build that ahead, then when you get to the process where you're asking for the sale, it's super easy. And so that is the main thing that I want to get out there to people listening today, is that if you're creating the content, give it first. Don't be afraid to give out that information. Don't be afraid to build value, and don't think that there's not an abundance. I think so many people like to hold on to things, and they're like, oh, I don't want to share my secrets, and I don't want to share this. And why? Are you scared that they're not going to come to you? Like, for instance, if you have a service, give out that information. Because I can promise you this, none of the people, I'm not going to say none, I'm going to say 90% of the people out there aren't going to do it themselves. Those that are going to do it themselves are going to do it themselves. But for instance, for us, like, I'm going to give out all of the content marketing secrets to you guys, whatever. I'll show you how we do a social media calendar. I'll show you how we organize it. I'll show you how we do a writer's room. I'll show you how we shoot video. I'll show you how we edit. I'll show you how we distribute, all of that stuff. Are you going to do it yourself? Maybe. I doubt it. You don't have the time. If you're a plumber, if you're a personal injury attorney, if you're in construction, if you're a roofer, if you're a therapist, whatever, like, you don't have the time to do it. So if I'm giving out the information, number one, it sets me up as an authority in the field. It creates credibility and trust, so that when we get to that process, we're like, hey, we're making it happen. And here's something that me and Will, and let me introduce Will here. If you guys don't know Will Brooks, Will Brooks is the COO of this company, of Leduc Entertainment. This guy, super smart, is the reason why we've been as successful as we have. I recommend anybody in business to get themselves a Will Brooks, because it's just game changing. But we were talking about our sales process about a month or two ago, and we were kind of going through it. And one of the things that we stumbled upon, and he brought to my attention, was that why aren't we doing a consultative approach in the sales process, instead of just giving them the sales pitch and the dog and pony show and all of that? Why aren't we going, hey, let's look at their social media. Let's look at what they're putting out. Let's look at how they're marketing their business. And then when we get to the table, come in with ideas on how to make their social media better, their marketing better. That way we're looked at as someone that provides value rather than somebody that's just looking for money. And I think when we started doing that approach, man, the response was just such a different type of response. It didn't feel so adversarial. Not that a sales should feel adversarial, but it does in certain points where you're like, oh, because you're trying to convert and you're trying to close, and it can feel, sort of adversarial. But I think if you're putting that consultative approach together, once again, builds trust and credibility, and all of that.
And what it does for us on our end is, when we're going in to talk to a lead, right, that we obviously want to, like you said, that we want to get in bed with, the pressure's off. Like, we're helping them from the jump. We're not asking them for anything. We're doing some research before we go into a call. We're spending time on them, on their business, without asking for anything. We're coming in, hey, we see you have this many followers. We see you got these kinds of posts. These look really good. These might need a little work. Here's some suggestions you can do. Here's some topics you might want to cover. And then we leave that call with them, and they have just a stack of information off of an hour talk with us. Next time we call and we want to have a conversation with them, what they remember is, oh, those are the guys that know their shit. And then, that's how it builds. It works great. And whether they buy from us or not, it's enjoyable for us to help them and to do the brainstorming. And I mean, because that's what we do. We tell stories. I love that approach. I think it's a great way to approach it, because we're helping them regardless. Hallelujah. And we like to help people. Yeah.
I also think that, and here's an approach that we've been incorporating into our content through the DISC profile. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the DISC profile. It's the DISC quadrants. And basically, At the top of the list, you have the D and the I personalities, right? D and I personalities are super fast moving, right? And there's a quadrant that's people oriented and speed, right? And D personalities are your business owners that want to make decisions quickly, don't want all the details, ready to pull the trigger, don't give me the details, not necessarily people oriented. Then you have I personalities that are fast moving, super people oriented, right? They're going to talk your ear off. They're going to be the socialites. They're going to be the people on social media that you follow, your celebrities, people that are just super personable, the life of the party. Then you have S personality types are slow moving and also people oriented. These are the people that are more nurturing. They're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to, the feeling is what's going to sell them on a particular product, right? Or service. And then you have C personality types that are slow moving, but they're super analytical, not necessarily people focused, but they're all about the details. They're all about processes and procedures. And so when you guys are out there creating content, you have to create content that mixes with all four personality types, right? Your D personalities are going to love those commercials, quick call to action. What is it that you do? Can I use it, right? Your I personality types, they're going to be your shining object syndrome type videos. Like they're going to be interested in the flashy and how you live your life and, more of the day in the life type videos, right? Those type of things. Your S personality types, they're going to probably listen to your podcast. They're probably going to want to listen to more of what you have to say and just in a more long form setting, right? And then your C personality types are also going to probably listen to your long. They're going to want the details and the dies odd, the T's crossed, the I's dotted, all the intricacies. They're going to really love like your processes and procedures and how you do the things you do and why you do the things you do, right? So when you're thinking about creating content for your social media, and this is just for business in general, and not necessarily for people that are out there trying to be, the celebrities and influencers, for strictly for business, I think that you should have a nice array of these types of videos that are hitting these different personality points. And once again, when you get into the closing and the sales process, think about who you're dealing with. Think about that personality type. And if you guys haven't done your research on the DISC personality profiles, you really should. There's a book called Taking Flight, and it really goes into the different types of people, and they do it through birds, right? So like the eagle is the D personality type. They're the ones that are flying above, right? And looking at everything from a 30,000 foot view. They're looking at things and they're making quick decisions. They get super impulsive, right? So those are the eagles. And then your parrots are the I personality types, and they're flashy and they look at me and they want to have fun and all of that good stuff. And then the doves or the pigeons, I believe, are the ones that are like, hey, come on in. I want to make you some tea. I want to talk to you. Let's talk more. Let's talk a little bit more, and then you finesse it through that conversation and rapport building, right? And then you got the owls that are C personality types, and they're like, hey, like, this isn't working and we need processes and procedures in order to make this work, and more technical and and that sort of thing. So it's really been transformative, not just for like sales and outward facing things, but I think internal facing things on how we operate internally as a business. Knowing how people operate, we can talk to them that way, right? And they can have some grace when they're talking with that other person, right? Because if we're thinking that we're all the same, it's going to be hard to have that conversation. But if hey, Armando is super impulsive, Armando is going to make decisions quickly, and and he may not cross all the T's and dot the I's, well, then you guys might have a little bit more grace and going, hey, that's his personality type. Not to excuse it, but we're now more understanding of that, right? And like, if we have somebody that's a I personality type, then why aren't we putting them in positions that make them, can shine, right? And that's that. And we need all four of those types of people in our organization. And, truthfully, in, outward facing too, like that, those are the type of clients. So think about that when you're creating some content. Will, talk to me about some of the other content that we create for businesses.
Well, I mean, I gotta be honest, my stuff froze up when you were talking about what the different types. So I don't know what you've already said. But I mean, yeah, we do that organic style. And this is it's I mean, I don't want to say it's a trick, but it's a podcast setup, right? Where you're shooting someone very much in the same kind of shot that we have Armando in right here. And we what I'll do, like with several of our clients, we'll go on shoots. I'll sit across a desk from them. I'll have a whole list of questions. I'll throw them at them, and then they're just off the cuff answering the questions. And we'll do that for 30, 45 minutes. And then we've got days and days of content from that quick little bit we did right there. So we do that. We do the scripted TikTok style, reel style videos. One of the things that we've hit upon recently is we're really focusing on making sure that the content that we're putting up, whether it's for us or whether it's for our clients, is story based. And that is what people are looking at on social media. What we've been doing again with ourselves and with clients is kind of, we're looking at the niche, right, that you serve as your business, and we'll looking at story based content. For example, we work with a lot of personal injury attorneys. That's one of our big areas that we work with. We work with a lot of them, and so I've done some research. I've found very strange cases that have happened in the past, odd cases, unusual personal injury cases that have happened, and we craft a story around that. We tell that story to the audience, and we're scripting that and bringing that to our clients, and they're able to tell a story. Again, they're not selling, they're providing edutainment, and building themselves as a credible personal injury attorney who's entertaining, somebody they enjoy. They get in an accident, maybe that's the person that they want to call on because they trust them, they know them, right?
Yeah.
So that's some stuff we've been doing for clients, the story based stuff. We love cutting fake trailers for our clients.
Love that.
Which is a lot of fun. One of the things, one of our credos at Leduc Entertainment is we like to think of your business as a movie. And every good movie needs a good trailer. So to sell it. So we love to come up with a trailer for businesses. We kind of work with them and we think about, what's the genre? What genre is your business in? Is your business a rom-com? Is your business a disaster movie? Is your business a horror film? And then we can kind of take that and create a trailer for your company. That you
can you give an example of what we did?
Yeah, there's an oil and gas company that we work with in Lafayette, Louisiana. They're called Gulf Offshore Rentals. They provide equipment to offshore oil rigs that are capping their oil rig. Not to get too specific, but that's what they do. So they make deliveries to these oil rigs, to all the roughnecks out on the rigs, and they deliver all kinds of stuff, not just equipment. And when we were talking with them, and one of the things that they mentioned was that they've been requested to deliver crawfish out to the rigs, which I thought was really funny. So we came up with this idea for a trailer, and I was thinking about roughnecks, oil rigs. Naturally, my head went to the movie Armageddon, where they send the oil guys up to an asteroid to blow it up. So we kind of use that as a jumping off point. We made kind of a fake disaster movie trailer for Gulf Offshore Rentals. It's super funny, very tongue in cheek. We're not taking it too seriously. That one was a lot of fun. We did a rom-com, like a Sleepless in Seattle takeoff for a band. Local band that we work with in New Orleans. Bandless in Baton Rouge. So the trailers are super fun. We've got some other ones that are in the works, both for ourselves, for Leduc Entertainment, and for clients. But those are always super fun to do. And then we do parody work as well, where we'll take a famous scene from a film and kind of rewrite it for the client. We've done The Matrix with Morpheus saying you can take the red pill or the blue pill, which translates great to any business. The great Liam Neeson monologue in Taken, I have a very particular set of skills. We've reworked that for client. Silence of the Lambs was a lot of fun to do. So we I know those all might seem like old movies to some of you out there, but they're famous, they're well-known movies, and it's a lot of fun to do that, and it's a lot of fun for the clients as well. And it's just different stuff. It's different than what you're normally seeing out on social media. So we try to mix it up as much as we possibly can.
I'll tell you, story-based content. So we did the history of where Break a Leg comes from because we were doing videos for a community theater here in
It was the
town,
Macbeth video
APA.
that really jumped off.
Well, the Break a Leg went off too.
Did it too? You're
Yeah,
right.
they
You're right.
both did. About 40, about 45, 50,000 views, and that just reminds me why people tune in, right? And why people are watching. And it's stories sell every single
Yeah.
time. Like,
And the big thing about those videos that we noticed was when those videos were posted on that theater company's on their TikTok page, they had like 6 or 7 followers. We posted this one video about why you don't say the word Macbeth in a live theater. And within like 48 hours, they had like over 400 followers on their TikTok. So like huge jump in subscribership off of one video. And that's what
mhm.
like what Armando was saying at the beginning. That's why you never know what's going to hit. And you just have to keep putting the content out there. And you're going to have that one that hits where you're going to look at your page one day and go, holy shit, we got 1,000 new followers last night. How did that happen? Well, it probably has to do with the video that you posted the day before.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask you this, Will, and you know this because we've been kind of going through the different types of clients that we have, and when somebody starts with us, in content, we always have this sort of threshold that we need to get over, right? Which is maybe it's imposter syndrome, maybe it's how they feel and how they look on camera.
mhm.
Talk to me a little bit about what you tell our clients when they start to get those secondhand, feelings of like, oh, is this, should I be putting this out? And that sort of fear of judgment.
Well, I mean, what we always tell people is, especially if it's at the beginning, this is the first month you've done this, you're going to get better at it. We also tell them, and they do inevitably get better at it. Occasionally, we have a client from the jump who's like a master. We have a personal injury attorney in Baton Rouge that we worked with for 1 month. We got his videos done, and it was like, holy moly, this guy's made for this. Like he's so good at it. But sometimes people need a little work and you need a little training. It's that 10,000 hours rule, it really applies. And the more you perform on camera and the more coaching you get from people like us on a shoot, we're going to make sure, our job is to make sure you look as good and sound as good as you possibly can. People are very critical of themselves. We always let people know, you look great, you sound great. You're watching
Right.
yourself, you're going to be overly critical of yourself. I don't like to watch myself on camera. It's not my favorite thing to do, but those are just humps that you have to get people over. And generally, usually like 2-3 months in, people are in that groove. They're looking forward to the next shoot. And it's kind of an exciting day. It's fun. It's different than what they normally do with their day to day. And that's also a hump at the beginning,
Mhm.
is the fact that it's like, I'm giving up a whole day of my work to do this thing that I don't know anything about. The clients that are willing to really kind of let go and let us do our thing, they end up having the best time and having the best content because they're relaxed. And we try to do that with everybody is get them relaxed. But yeah, when we hear that stuff, we have to build people up. That's what we do. We build them
Yeah.
up, we coach them up, and they get better. And eventually they can't wait to shoot the next month.
Yeah. I look, and to your point, the guy's name is Josh Palmentier. He's a personal injury attorney in Baton Rouge. We shot with him for a month, and he had, I don't know if there was apprehension for him to post those videos. That definitely, there definitely was this sort of should I or shouldn't I? And the thing was, as soon as he did, like 3 days later, because I saw him posting, he called us extremely excited. Oh my God, loved it. My clients love it. There's so much, so and now he's like, yes, 100%. I'm a believer. Let's go. He's addicted, And so that just goes to show you can't judge the content before you put it out. You can't. You don't know what's going to hit. If we knew it was going to hit, I'd be a multi-trillionaire. I
Yeah.
could tell the future. I could be like, yeah, all right, yes, this video right here is going to get you 1 million views. This video is going to get you 200,000. This video, you know what I mean? Like, so if we could all do that, sure, be amazing. Nobody can promise you that. If they're promising you that, they're full of BS. But what we can promise you is that the consistency in posting wins every single time. And I know people are used to videos as far as like, oh, I'm going to create a video for my business. They're thinking it's going to be a commercial, right? And look, you're going to spend 20,000, or more on a commercial where we're spending 2 days on like, this one shot, and we're lighting it beautifully, and we've got a crane, and we've got a dolly, and we've got several grips, and like the whole, not like it's a whole full-on production. But that's not what we're doing with content marketing. It's not social media, right? Like, and here's a point. I had a meeting yesterday with a client who was showing me a corporate video, and I told the lady, I said, look, this is a great video for your business. Problem is, and great video as far as like the quality of it. Quality was incredible. Problem was, it didn't have any human element to it. Like, it was so disingenuous, and you could tell that it was all about the money in this video. It's just so corporate that I'm like, it's such a turnoff for everybody. Nobody's going to sit around watching a 17-minute video that's corporate, and that's just like, I want the money. I want the money. It's like, dude, like, that's not going to work. What's going to work is story, case studies, testimonials, third-party endorsements, that human element.
And putting a personal face on the business that you're offering. It's like I said before, it's a matter of, when we're doing a video with a personal injury attorney that's talking about, the hot coffee case, the McDonald's, where somebody sued McDonald's for $5 million because the coffee was too hot, right? So like, there's a lot of details that go in that story, and there's a lot of things that people don't know about it. So we're providing that to people to kind of, oh, that was interesting. I'm glad I watched that. You're getting to know the attorney who's giving you that information. They're kind of becoming a friend, right? There's somebody that you see on social media over and over and over again. You kind of know their personality. God forbid you get into an accident, you're probably going to call that attorney because, oh yeah, I'm going to call Josh Palmentier because I know him. He doesn't know me, but I know him.
Right.
And the same thing applies for big business too. I think, there are big businesses where it's an exception to this rule, Amazon, Apple, Disney, corporations like that, they're ubiquitous. It's a different animal, but
but even though, to your point, why do we have Flo on Progressive? Why do we have Jake from State Farm? Why do we have these people that sort of become the face of the business? Because they want that familiarity. They want that credibility and trust. And obviously that's why they put, celebrities and pro athletes and all of these in commercials, so that they can they can build on that brand that athlete has already created, and bring those two things together. But if you're obviously not at that level.
Well, what's cool about social media is that it gives you the opportunity to create that for yourself. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to be consistent and to post, then you are going to become known as like, oh yeah, that's the guy who tells legal history stories, but he's also a personal injury attorney. You have that identity, which is an amazing thing to have when it comes to social media. If you can develop that kind of an identity, you're gold.
Here's another quick tip on creating content and videos where if you're just sitting there going, I wonder what I want to create. I wonder what I want to do. I want you to think about the customer pain points that your clients are having, right? And you can, on just one pain point, you can create 20, 30, 40 pieces of content that talk about that particular pain point in several different perspectives, right? So if you're thinking about, I need to figure out what kind of client or what kind of content I want to create that's going to resonate with my clients, think about their pain points that you solve, right? An accountant, what do they solve? They solve tax problems. They solve QuickBooks issues and bookkeeping and, that sort of deal. So when you're creating content, then your content as an accountant should be, how do I make taxes easy? How do I make your bookkeeping easy? How do you save money? how are you, and that's just three things right there that
Yeah, or
that I could really dial in on.
what are some here's some tax loopholes that you can take advantage of when you're doing your taxes this year.
Right.
These are some write-offs you might not know are write-offs for you. Like that's a video in and of itself. Here's 5 write-offs that you didn't know were a tax write-off. Bing, bang, bing,
Correct.
bang, boom. Piece of content. And you can
Done.
shoot that like all you got to do is like this. Get your phone. Hey, here's 5 ways you can do this. Bop, 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 bop. Post the videos out there. Like it doesn't have to
Hallelujah.
be a full scale production. It's better if there's some editing and there's some music behind it and you got some transitions. But if you're not there yet, at least post something.
And I think you've got to get into that mindset, and you've got to create the company culture in your organization to start treating your social media like it is extremely important. I know a lot of business owners are like, oh yeah, we need to have a social media account, so let's just put what's her name on it, or what's his name on it. That's like the intern.
It's Kathy's birthday. Make sure you put a post about Kathy's birthday today.
Right.
On our public social media. Nobody cares that it's Kathy's birthday.
Nobody cares. I'll tell you what they will care about is the story, like a real fun story about, Kathy and her birthday and how long she's been in the company and why she's an asset, and, sort of an appreciative post like that works. And look, Kathy's going to share it. Kathy's family will share it. She'll feel good about it. Like, there are things that you can do super easily to really dial in on the content and really be super intentional about what you're trying to create. Right. And if you take anything from today, it's the stories. It's the story behind what it is that you're doing. Right. What is the story? So I'll tell you, we're thanks so much, Josh. But what we're doing is, we're going to create one of the biggest digital marketing conferences in the world starting next year in the fall, right? What does that entail? What is the story behind it? Why do we need to do this, right? Like, why would we bring it to New Orleans? Why is this necessary? What are the things that we're going to do? So part of our content for the next, year, before all the way up until the point where we're creating this digital marketing conference, is talking about who we need to get involved. What are the speakers? Where are we going to do it? What are the after parties going to look like? What are the booths going to look like? What are the activities? How are people going to get, a lot of value from the from this content, right? So think about in your business what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and then you can use that as content. Right? Sort of the documentary style. Hey, what's going on today? What are the goals that you guys are trying to accomplish for 2023? Oh, well, we're trying to do this. Great. And then you go granular. Why is it that you're trying to do that? Well, I want to do that because blah, blah, blah. I want more time and blah, 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 family. Why is that? Oh, because, I never had the chance to blah, 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 blah. Okay. Why is that? Oh, because when I grew up, blah, 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 blah. And then you get granular, and you start uncovering this nice story that people gravitate to and they latch onto and they want it and they're going to continue watching it. Like, if you look at our social media, you'll notice that the videos that we share that are story-based, that have like some sort of history, are the ones that hit harder than the ones that we're just, giving information. Not to say that you shouldn't also incorporate giving information, because you should, but you should also really think about what are the stories behind what it is that we're trying to do, right? I think that is the connecting factor and what people are going to gravitate to when they're watching your content.
Yeah, people like story. People like story.
Yeah. So what do you say to clients that are super focused on like their competitors, right? And when, they're like, oh, I really, so-and-so is doing so well. And, we really, want to emulate that sort of business model. What do we say to clients like that?
I tell them to be careful. When it comes to that, I mean, yes, you should be paying attention to your competition. That's important. Something as a business owner or leader that you have to do. You have to pay attention to your competition and what they're doing. But you emulating their marketing strategies. I mean, yes, it's a tricky line, right? There are characteristics, there are small things you can look at that they're doing, but you have to make it your own.
Mhm.
You have to make it your own story. That's really what it is don't worry so much about how they're doing it or what they're saying. What do you want to say? What's your message? What's your
Right.
story? And let's figure out how to tell that in an interesting way that's going to set you apart from what they're doing. You don't want to do the same thing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, agreed. I think that it's super important to stop looking at social media in comparison.
it's hard to do them.
It's hard. It's very hard to do, right? Like you look at it and you're like, oh man, I wish my business was doing this, and I wish I like to use that as more fuel for movement and just to push me a little bit further, but not necessarily wanting to emulate, what other people are doing because you don't know their experiences, right? Like you don't. For me and for Will here, we grew up in the theater, right? We grew up in theater, we grew up acting. So us in front of the camera is completely different than somebody that, went to law school, went that route, didn't really have that sort of training. Not to say that you can't use your experiences to make, to really push off and go into a different area because that's your experience, right? That's your perspective and your opinions and that matters too. And you'll never know how that's going to affect somebody. I was in give you an example. I was in a public speaking room on Clubhouse, and there were a few experts talking about public speaking and how you do it and all of that. And one of the things that the guy told me, which was really, really, really cool and sticks with me today, is a message can be received from someone that may not be received by someone else. So if Will and me have the same exact words, the same exact message, the same exact all of it, they may not listen to Will. They may not resonate with Will. They're going to resonate with me, or vice versa. They may resonate with Will. They may not resonate with me. And here's the deal. When you deprive those people of your message, you're doing a disservice to the world. Like you're doing a disservice because you never know that, who knows this. What do we have? 4 people on this thing right now that are watching? Who knows? And it's recorded, so it might get played later on. But all that to say is, if Josh Bruce right here has listened to it and this video becomes something that he can use to jump off and be great and inspired, then I've done my job, right? Who cares if there's only 3 people watching this thing? I don't care, right? Like I'm not concerned with how many people are watching this. I'm concerned with impact. I'm concerned with giving value. I'm concerned with giving back. I'm concerned with all of those things, the journey and how I can be looked at as somebody that can provide value instead of somebody that's just taking, right? And so if I keep putting stuff out that's in that vein, and if you guys are thinking about the same, right? Like if you guys are providing a service and a product that is solving problems that are helping people, then think about that. Make that the focus. Make that what you guys are creating content for, and not necessarily the end result, which is money, right? Which I think has been probably one of the biggest secrets to our success in our business, is that we've always led with the value build. The how are we being looked at as somebody that's an ally to somebody's business and not just somebody that's wanting to take money out of somebody else's hands, right? Like, and I think that's how we close more business, is because we are looked at as somebody that really wants to help. And look, when you become a client of ours, and this is not going to be a sales approach. I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is that when somebody becomes a client, we don't just stop the dating process because they became a client. The reason why people stay with us is because we continue to have customer service calls and constantly, like every month, hey, how are things going? What are some problems that you're having? What are you seeing? How are you changing your business? How are things that, how can we help become not just your videography content marketers, but how can we become your chief marketing officer, and how can we provide that value? And I think that in itself keeps that, keeps that engine going. So if there's anything that that you guys really want to focus on, is just that giving back aspect, that consultation aspect, that that authority, so that when I'm coming into your world and your customer journey, that I feel super comfortable in giving you money every time, or the one-off, right? I'm like, I feel completely comfortable with giving this person that money because I'm going to get a stellar product. And there's a book, it's called the Ultimate Sales Machine. I always talk about this book, but it's really good. It's by Chet Holmes. But it really talks about, like, how you can create a customer journey, and how you work on things from the inside, internally, to create a nice culture and a nice customer service and your service standards that keep people on. Right. I just went to an amazing restaurant here in town. It's called GW Finn's. It's one of the top 5 restaurants in New Orleans. And I think it was voted, like, nationally, it's ranked. Right. And I talked to the manager. I'm like, how do you guys stay so relevant day in and day out? Like, amazing service, amazing food, amazing product. How are you guys doing that? And he's like, it's all about your service standards. It's all about that radical customer service, right? And making sure that every single time somebody comes through, they're wowed by the experience. We sat down. When was the last time you sat at a restaurant and they told you where the bathroom was when you sat down?
It's been a long time.
I'm gonna tell you, I go to restaurants all the time. I've never had that happen, except for at GW Finn's. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for being here. This happens right here. Just to let you know, the bathroom is right there. Just that little bit is like, oh my God, why wouldn't people think about that? Right. But it's just like, oh wow, actually, that's amazing. So work on that stuff also for your business internally, and try to create that amazing customer service so that people will continue to talk about you. And, and I always talk about a customer journey when we're creating videos too, because when you're creating this content as well, think about how people are experiencing your business from beginning to end, right? And the different stages where they're at. You get 1,000 questions every day about the same things, right? So that's content right there that you can go, hey, I know you have questions about this, because everybody does. Here's a quick video that lets you know what you can expect in this process. And here's another video that you can expect in this process, and this and this and this. And it makes people more, they're going to love the process. People are research obsessed these days. They're research obsessed. If you can give them the information, they're going to love it. They're going to be like, oh my God, they're so on top of it. They're so on top of it. And that's going to make them feel a lot more comfortable giving you a referral from their friends and family, because they're like, I've got this service. You need to experience it. You need to experience their business. It's amazing. Right? Great. I'm down. I'm in. So we'll wrap it up because I've got a massage. I'm gonna go get a massage. Liddy Khabibi, New Orleans, massage therapy. Shout out. So if you guys need a massage, reach out to NOLA Stretch. They do fascial stretch therapy, and they also do like deep tissue massage and all that. So recommend it. Will,
I'm gonna get some lunch.
Get some lunch.
Any other bits from me?
Yeah. Any other bits on how to end it?
I mean, like you said, provide whether you're selling to someone or not as a business owner, if you can provide that help. Think of yourself as someone who's providing help, not necessarily product. And then the sales will follow. I think that's really the lesson for today. And then like the story-based stuff, just even in the customer journey where you're type stuff where you're telling someone what they can expect at this point in the process, if you can correlate that into a story, they're going to swallow it and digest it a whole lot better than if it's just boilerplate. And now this happens.
Yeah.
So story whenever you can. And the more stories you tell, the better storyteller you're going to become. So
feel, felt, found. You remember feel, felt, found in terms of sales? I know you feel this way.
Oh yeah,
Somebody else felt that way too. This is what they found.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely think about that in terms of like, yeah, you're giving a piece of content, but this is how it also translates in story form. So I appreciate you, Will.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna go live weekly because it's fun. If you guys have any questions for us, hit us up. Hit us up in the DM if we can help you guys in any way. We're all about it. If we can connect you guys, we'd love to
Hey,
connect you.
if you want a consultation like we talked about, maybe you come on here. We do it live.
That'd be cool.
Show people what we do and help somebody out here live.
That'd be
I think that might
dope.
be
I
thing
like that.
we could try out. So if you need some help, and you want a free hour of consultation on your social media, hit us up and maybe we'll have you on the show. I don't know if this is a show. What is this, Armando?
It's a show.
We'll have you on the stream.
It's a stream show.
And we'll go over your social media and we'll come up with some ideas that you could try out.
I love that. I love it.
Let's do that.
We should totally do that. Absolutely. Next week.
That's what I'm here for.
There you go. Next week we're gonna bring somebody on, and we're gonna and we'll dissect their social media, their website, their digital marketing, how they should be pushing things out. I think that's a brilliant idea. Find yourselves a Will Brooks for your business, ladies and gentlemen. Find yourselves. It really is about your team and who you surround yourself with. If you guys want growth in your business, you've got to find people that are quality, and don't be afraid to pay them. So. Will, I appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll see y'all later. Folks. And hit us up. We can help you. If we can, let us know. Later.
See you.